Hey guys, what's up? It's jjaaxxthelegend here, and today I'm here with another Minecraft redstone tutorial. And in this week's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to build a honeycomb farm in the new Minecraft 1.15 snapshot. It feels so weird to say 1.15. This farm is super resource efficient, reasonably compact, and makes loads of honeycomb and honey. And as you can see, it's very easy to decorate with the way I've done it here. So now that you've seen that, let's hop into a flat area where I can show you guys how to build this and the material list. Okay, before we get into the tutorial, it's time to list off some items. For this build, you are going to need some stairs, some building blocks, some observers, 2 observers to be exact, 8 redstone dust, 6 regular chests, 4 hoppers, 2 dispensers, make sure it's a dispenser not a dropper, 2 beehives, 2 redstone comparators, some shears, and some glass bottles. Now, just quickly, before we start the tutorial, I'm going to show you how you need to place these glass bottles and shears into your dispenser, so you can do that later in the tutorial. So now, we need to place our dispenser to show you how to do it. So once I place that down, you can see I've got my glass bottle here and my shears here. Now, these shears, when you shear beehives, it gives you honeycomb. And glass bottles is for honey. Now there isn't much use for honeycomb at the moment, but who knows what they'll do with it in the future. However, honey is a very sufficient source of food. And it also cures any potion effects, so this might be useful, say if you're going to a guardian temple. Okay, so let's start off with the most useful one, the glass bottle. So, to place this, you want to put at least 2 in each slot in the dispenser. Ideally, you'd like to have 64 and some in a hopper above it, but if to start with, I would go for at least 2, or try your best to get 16 in each one. So it's something like this. So just put like 16 in every one, like so. Just like that, so it looks like that. And then in the future, you'll add to it because you just reuse your honey bottles. However, with the shears, we do not have to do that because the mechanics are completely different. With the shears, you can put 1 pair of shears there and it will do its job completely well. However, you have to remember the shears do break and do wear down on use. So you might want to put a few extra shears in there and always make sure to add them or fill up your chest when you think they'll be broken. Okay, so now that you know that, it's time to hop on to the tutorial. I will give a quick reminder when we're back in this tutorial on how to do that when we get up to that stage, but that was just a quick brief overview. Okay, so now it's time to start the tutorial. Now, the first thing we want to do is grab out our 6 chests. We're going to only be using 2 of them at the moment though. Start by placing 2 chests like so. So the front of, the side of them is actually facing towards the front, and the front is facing towards either the left or right side. So it should look like this. Now that you've done that, come to the right and left side and place a hopper going into the front portion of the chest, like so. Like that, on each side. Once you've done that, place an orange concrete block directly behind each of those hoppers, with a dispenser on top of them, like this, facing towards the hoppers. Make sure it's a dispenser, not a dropper. Now that you've done that, you can break those temporary blocks. So now, place your beehive here and here so they are directly on top of the hopper. Now you want to move around to the back and place a stair like so. Grab your stair out and look on either side of these beehives, hold shift, or you don't actually have to hold shift, and click. And it should place it upside down and facing towards you. Now you might think, Jax, this looks very weird from this side. However, from the front it looks like a completely solid block, but you can still open your chest when it is on top of it. So that's why we use stairs here. Now, come up to the top and place a hopper going directly into each of these droppers like so. 1, 2. And then on top of that, going to the front, like this, place 2 chests on both sides. So if you imagine having an oak wood wall here, you can see that everything is completely flush with the wall. Okay, so I've now destroyed that wall just for viewing purposes, and now I'm going to tell you which chests are which. The 2 chests at the top that we have just placed, you can have either your shears all your water bottles, glass bottles in them. And the chest down the bottom is where your honey is going to go once it's harvested. Now, if you want to expand this honey chest, you will have to go down. So you might want to dig out a little bit of space here. I'm going to dig 2 blocks in front of it and go 3 blocks down. Then dig 3 blocks down under both layers of the chest. Just like this. Now, with expanding this, it can get a bit awkward, so you will have to have a single chest to make sure it stays flush. So you want to place 3 single chests like this facing the front. Now, come to the back and place a hopper going into each of those single chests by digging down another 3 on the back, like this. And place all 3 of those hoppers. Now, this does use extra hoppers that I haven't listed because I was building it with the regular setup. Okay, so now I'm going to destroy this because I prefer the look of just the single chest, and I'll always be grabbing out my honey and putting it into my my big honey chest at my honey farm. So now it's time for some redstoning. Okay, so I'm going to be building the redstoning now. However, it is going to be a bit tricky to hide, so I'll also show you how to do that once we've built it. Okay, let's start by setting up our inventory fully ready to redstone. So in the slots we want to have our building blocks, our observers, our redstone dust, our comparators, and that's it, because that's all we'll need for this part. Now we need to walk to either the left or right side and place a few blocks. Now I'm only going to be showing you guys how to do one side of it because it's exactly the same on the other side. So I'm just going to be walking to my right. So start by grabbing out your orange concrete blocks and placing 2 like so. 1, 2. Then directly on top of that, place a comparator, so this larger bit is coming out of this beehive here. So this allows this comparator to detect if this honey level has changed, and then power our redstone dust that we're putting right there. Now place an observer by either building up like this, or in my case flying up, and just placing it directly on top of that redstone dust there. So the redstone face is looking down at the redstone dust, and this little sort of a redstone dot here is facing into the sky. Now, place a piece of redstone dust on top of that. Then, come one to the side like so, and place another piece of redstone dust on a block. Okay, so now come to the back of your build and place a block next to your dispenser like so. Going one diagonal down from this block here to your left if you're facing, to your right if you're facing from the back. Now, place a piece of redstone dust on that block, like this. So the redstone dust comes from here all the way down to here. Okay, so now we have to repeat that on the other side. So just a quick overview: 2 blocks, comparator, redstone dust, concrete, oh not concrete, observer, concrete, redstone dust on all of them like that. So this is what it should look like. Now you might be thinking, Jax, this is going to be very tricky to hide because all of this is at the same level as this sort of hive setup here. Well, the way I hide in my builds is like this. I actually put this hive system 1 block back into the wall, and not only does it actually look good, it covers up the redstoning completely. So 1 block by 1 block back, I mean I raise the wall out here up by 1, which covers up the redstone fully, like this. But the wall here stays at that level there, so it's all 1 block back. Let me just add these blocks here because it makes it look a bit better. And again, if you want to add blocks on top of here, you will need some extra stairs. You will need an extra 2 stairs, and you need to place them upside down using some scaffolding blocks on top of the chests, and then place some more oak blocks like this. So now you have covered up your redstoning and your farm looks pretty decent. But if you want to hide those hoppers, you can either grab stairs, trapdoors, or any sort of block here. I haven't included these because it's really your personal taste, and just chuck them right here. I'm going to use stairs because they're in my hotbar. So as you can see, I fully decorated my farm, although it is a lot of oak, but it still looks pretty decent. Another design option you can have if you're a bit further on in the game and you have silk touch is that you can replace the beehive with bee nests, because these are interchangeable. You can have one with a beehive and one with a bee nest, or both with a bee nest. So depending on what look you're going for, either work. Okay, so now it's time to set up our whole flower room and like sort of bee setup. So let's start by making a small room. I'm just going to come out here, doesn't need to be too big, ideally actually reasonably small so the bees don't have to travel a far distance to get to their flowers. I'm actually going to make this one bigger, so I'm going to make it come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks back from the hive, including that sort of stair block, which is sort of unusable. So let's build up all of these walls and make sure to add a roof and a secure way to get in. And of course it can be as high as you want, and you want some light in it so the evil monsters don't spawn. So I'm going to put a glass top on here. Okay, for the next bit you're going to need quite a few flowers and some leads. Now if you don't have these leads, don't worry, just pack a few extra flowers and I'll show you how to sort of interchange them when trying to collect your bees. Before we actually get our bees and set them up at our hive, let's place the flowers. Now I found that the flowers no longer become effective for the bees to pollinate if they're more than 2 or 3 blocks away from the hive. So I'm going to be placing mine here, maybe a few back here as well. I'm going to have a bunch of red tulips because I love the flowers, they're so pretty in these ones. So now you can see I've got a bunch of flowers. Now there is a different way of doing this. You can have a row of crops, which I will show you later on in the video on how I've done that on a in a better sort of decorated area. But for now, I'm just going to do the basic setup of plain old flowers. Okay, so now we've got these flowers, it's time to get some bees. So let's go into the wild. Oh, I forgot to add a door, I better do that. Grab a door and go grab some bees. So I have now found some wild bees here. So now what I need to do is bring these back to a different room or the same room and breed them. Now I would suggest bringing these back to a different room and breeding them because otherwise you might mix your new ones up with your old bees. So I'm just going to make a small room here. Now this is why I suggested using leads, because it's much easier to get them if you're using leads. However, bees do follow you if you're holding a flower. So if I take off their lead now and grab a flower, you can see they get attracted to me. However, sometimes they do lose you, and it is harder to get their exact placement correct. So if possible, I recommend definitely grabbing a lead. So let me just quickly make this bee breeding room. Come down here, bees. Where did the other one go? Yep. So now that I've got this breeding room in here, just add a little torch. I'm now going to grab out some more flowers, take them off their lead, grab out some more flowers, and right click on both of them. And you can see they will breed, and they will have a little bee baby. And the bee babies are much more bee sized, and they are very cute. So now we need to grab this bee out, grab it out, and without letting the other bees out, so I probably should have added a door, quickly escape out of here, or maybe bee, and go into our other room and let it free. So come on here. Oh, come on. There we go. Close the door and let it free. So that means when this bee grows up, it'll instantly get attached to one of these hives. So now let's go do that a few more times. Okay, so once you have 2 bees in here, you can just breed them while they're in this room, and that is much easier. So you can just go along and breed this. It is a slow task and a tedious task. However, it brings a great sort of reward of having a load of honey. Okay, so I'm now in my bee area, and you can see behind me we have flowers and then 2 rows of potatoes. Now the reason for this is when bees get pollinated, you see the pollinated texture on their bottom, they drop pollen onto the potatoes when they fly across. This pollen has a bone meal like effect, as you just saw in the distance, of the green sparkles going and it increasing the growth speed. As well as that, they can get to their hive and produce a load of honeycomb and a load of honey for me. So this allows you to have a really cute setup, get loads of honeycomb and honey, and get some extra speedy crops. Okay, so that is going to be the end of this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like, comment, and remember to subscribe if you're new. And if you'd like more information on the bees, make sure to go check out the video in the description down below. It is a full bee information video. And I will see you guys later. Peace. Oh, and remember, stay carbonated.